A lot of names, and I'm going to read them. Clarence Minor Alexander, Buford L. Alford, James Harvey Jr. Allman, Robert L. Anderson, Homer G. Armstrong, Clyde V. Arthur, Garland G. Ashley, Robert F. Ast, Theodore W. Atkins, Curtis B. Barber, Stacy O. Banks, Emmett Warren Jr. Barger, Forrest Perkins Baylor, Joseph X. Bell, Henry Marshall Benson, James W. Benson, Charles L. Berry, George H. Beaver, Elijah F. Black Jr., Albert Botkins, William Burton Bowers, Claude P. Bradley Jr., Russell O. Bradley, William T. Bradley Jr., George Bright, Daniel A. Booker, Fred Lee Brubeck, Benjamin G. Bryant, Roy A. Bryant, C.P. Henry Burke Jr., Aubrey L. Carroll, William Morgan Chu, Okie M. Clark, Paul M. Clark, William Fenton Clark, George H. Clark, Rollin S. I. Klein, Kenneth Ray Colrin, William Ralph Cole, Dennis Collins, Hansford Wilson Connor, Carlton H. Crook, William S. Kritzer, Joseph L. Crowder, Charles M. Grummett, William Frank Grummett Jr., Charles Curry II, Noel Anderson Daniel, John B. Dennison, Virgil Darrow, James K. Desper, Samuel Harvey Deal, Douglas Willard Diggs, Francis H. Doze, John Daniel Downey, Clarence E. Doyley, Frank H. Driver Jr., Thomas P. Drumheller, Clarence Edward Dudley, William N. Dula, Melvin Ora Ellinger, Warren P. Ellis, William David Fadley Jr., Marvin G. Fielding, Cyrus G. Fields, Clifton Fisher, Clark W. Fitzgerald, Lyle Winston Fitzgerald, James W. Foster, Paul Conrad Friel, Nelson R. Gibson, Charles W. Gill, Charles W. Goodwin, Ray K. Goolsey, James E. Graham, Dillard G. Grant, Herbert W. Grant, Harrison R. Gutsow, Harry Millard Hahn, Albert F. Hamilton, Frank B. E. Hamilton, John Marshall Hanna, Joseph Henry Hardway, Clyde Hampton Harlow, Billy Travis Harris, Harry Nelson Harris, Galvin W. Harshbarger, Hunter E. Harder, William Winfred Harder, John A. Hildebrand Jr., James McDonald Height, E. F. Hemp, Elmore K. Hood, John Wallace Hoover, Hampton L. Houff, John A. Howe, Thomas D. Howie, William H. Hoyt Jr., Emmett J. Huffer, Ira Norman Huffer, Waldron A. Hughes, Merlin P. Holvey, Harry, I don't know if that's an I or that's I, yes, Harry I. Jacobson, Robert K. Jenkins, Ira J. Johnson, Owen G. Jones, James P. Jordan, Aubrey Vess Keller, Charles William Kelly, Okie B. Kennedy, Luther W. Kiblinger, Paul Cameron King, Alfred M. Kite, Virgil B. Knopp, James Duval Coiner, William Robert Kyle, Charles R. Lambert, Harwood P. Lambert, Herman G. Landrum, Carl Hawkins Leap. Pretty incredible. Get you better footage. Winfred Liggett III, Henry Powell Lipscomb, William Remington Lucas, Harold T. Lusker, Elwood F. Mace, Ollie Dice Jr. Mace, Earl H. Martin, Floyd Winston Martin, Gaylord E. Martin, James D. Martin, James E. Martin Jr. Wow. Ralph Franklin Matheny, William Howard Mathis, Conrad Miller McDonaldson, John William McSpadden, Charles C. Miller, Elmer E. Miller, Greenlee Letcher Miller, Thomas A. Moeller, Hampton P. Morris III, Roscoe Paul Moyer, Samuel W. Moyers, Johnny Forrest Norman, Houston Douglas Knuckles, Jesse Franklin Knuckles, Robert L. Nutty, Thomas Ranson Opie, Earl W. Painter, Raymond E. Painter, Willard V. Painter, William B. Painter, George Raymond Parrish, Alexander McGarrell Patch III, Aubrey G. Patterson, Thomas Weldon Paxton, Berkeley Miller Pemberton, James Edward Perry Jr., Eugene M. Phillips, James F. Pierce, Charles Bilger Potter, Raymond E. Powell, Ortho B. Probst, Pleasant David Ralston Jr., Ursel L. Rankin, George A. Reed Jr., Marvin Gibson Rexroad, Carl Michael Riddle, Carl N. Riddle, Merlin G. Roberts, Guy W. Robertson, Herman S. Robertson, Pearl McCoy Robertson, Herbert Neal Rogers, William Leroy Ronmus, Clarence E. Ross, Delbert C. Rowe, Delbert C. Rowe, Guy H. Rowe, Vernon A. Rowe, Marvin Nelson Royer, Harry K. Rust, John Scalzone, Alan F. Siegel, William Carl Setliff, Durwood Chesley Settle, Nelson Shank, John Robert Shannon, Dewey L. Sheets Jr., Joseph R. Scherer, George C. Shiflett, Edward L. Shue, Robert Eugene Schultz, Carl V. Simon, Fred O. Sipple, George S. Slusser, Claude F. Smith, Halston H. Smith, Paul H. Smith, Richard F. Smith, Hanford Snyder, Frank Wetzel Sorrells, Richard B. Sprouse, Hubert B. Stevenson, Thad Stoutemeyer, Dwight Calvin Strickler, Albert Raymond Sutton, David Elwood Sutton, Edgar Allan Swan, Paul B. Tolliver, Earl P. Talley, Elmer Franklin Tanksley, George Matthew Taylor, Joseph H. Taylor, William A. Terrell, George E. Terry, Robert M. Tharp, Charles Robert Thomas, James A. Thomas Jr., J. Rudolph Thompson, Clyde Finter Thompson, Albert Wood Toman, Perry L. Tomlin, George B. Tullidge Jr., Weldon Frank Tutwiler, Weldon Frank Tutwiler, Dorsey Whitmore Tyree, James Graham Van Fossen, Luther Rice Vaughn, John Vaughn, Jack Frenger Wardell, Grover Howard Walton, Howard Letcher Waybright. That's a G or a C, cannot tell clearly. I'm going to go Letcher Waybright, Howard Letcher Waybright. Erskine S. Weaver, Marvin Rhea Weller, James E. Wharton, Richard Edward Williams, Robert E. Wiseman, Charles F. Wanson, William L. Woodard, or I. Woodell Jr. So I've held my hand up that long for all those names, and it hurts. I dare y'all to go back and hold your hand up like that, pointing it out. Anyway, the sacrifice they gave. Well done. 10 minutes of names, guys. Sacrifice for World War II. Think about that.